Hey up! I'm the Yorkshire Time Lord, and this is my alternate personality, the Yorkshire Leaguer, with my thoughts on James Gunn's DC Universe Slate. Okay, so James Gunn lately revealed his DC Slate. Now he's the head of DC Studios. And I was very intrigued to check it out because I'm a big fan of James Gunn as a filmmaker. I really do enjoy the films that he makes, especially his comic book movies. I think he just has this really great, fresh and vibrant feel that he lends to the comic book genre. And I'm very interested to see what he brings to the table when it comes to his new role as the head of DC Studios. I think going in, I was kind of thinking that his first phase would be more like 4 to 5 movies. 10 projects, including films and TV series, does seem a little bit overambitious to me. It might have made more sense starting off small and then going big from there. But I'm sure it being James Gunn, it will be good anyway. Now, he has also teased that there will be some video games that tie into his new universe. So it's not all just films and TV shows. It's films, TV shows, animated series, and video game tie-ins as well. She's certainly quite unique. It's a bit different than that, especially the fact that the video games are going to have the same voices from the films, reprising the parts of the games, which is very strange. It's not something we've seen before. I think this is the first time that Marvel could have some actual competition when it comes to the superhero genre. Because when you look at other superhero films, the DC extended universe hasn't really cut it, and Sony's Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man itself hasn't really managed to gain much traction. Excluding the Venom films. The Venom films do very well, but apart from them, their universe hasn't really become that popular, really. And I think James Gunn's DC universe stands the best chance of challenging Marvel. So his first phase is called Gods and Monsters, which is quite a good title really for a quite a good umbrella title for a DC universe. Gods and Monsters certainly does suggest that we're going to be getting quite a lot of projects with some of DC's godlike beings alongside some of their more monstrous creations. It's starting with a animated series called Creature Commandos, which looks like a typical kind of James Gunn quirky property. You've got vampires and werewolves, and you also got Weasel from the Suicide Squad film, which James Gunn also directed. So I'll say this is quite a promising start. It does sound quite an interesting animated series to check out. James Gunn is said to have written all 7 episodes himself, so it's all done by James Gunn. So it's going to have his signature style. It certainly seems like these comic book properties are becoming more interested in these sort of classic monsters as of late, and you think you've had things like Marvel's Werewolf by Night, for instance, which had a werewolf. So I'll certainly be interested to check that out. And then you've got the Amanda Waller TV series as well, which I'm surprised hasn't happened before, to be honest, because Amanda Waller, she's a really popular character, and a lot of people really like Viola Davis' take on her as well. So it's a wonder that this is the first time that she's had her own property dedicated entirely to her. But again, that seems like quite a promising idea. It'd be nice to see more of the sort of shady character after seeing her in the Suicide Squad. I never watched the original Suicide Squad because it didn't really interest me. I thought the DC Extended Universe as a whole has been a bit lame, to be honest, but I only really watched the Suicide Squad because James Gunn was directing. But I thought she was great in the Suicide Squad. She has this really intriguing, ambiguous character, which it would be interesting to see her develop more in a TV series. And it also has potential to have other characters turn up as well. We could get to see more of Peacemaker here, and maybe more of other characters such as Ratcatcher 2 and Bloodsport, and characters like Will Smith's Deadshot as well. I would like to see Will Smith's Deadshot because I didn't watch the original Suicide Squad. It would be nice to see him in a property that's essentially spearheaded by James Gunn, although he's not actually writing or directing this series, but it will still very much have his influence in being the head of DC Studios. Following on from that, there's the Superman film, the new Superman film that's been announced, called Superman Legacy. Now this one's actually written by James Gunn, so we already know it's going to be great because James Gunn's the one that's writing it. And I think he's a good choice to be writing a Superman film. I could see him really bringing the hope and optimism that Superman's known for to this Superman movie. So, it would be interesting to see how that turns out. Now, that one does actually have a release date in July 2025. So, it's a bit to wait yet before we get to see it, but I'm sure it'll be worth a wait with it being James Gunn that's writing it, and hopefully we get James Gunn directing it, as I said that they're hoping to do as well. And that's not even the only Superman property either, because he also announced that there's going to be a Supergirl film as well, called Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. And it's going to be about a Supergirl who was still living on Krypton when Krypton was being destroyed, and she watched all her friends and family die. So it seems like it's going to be quite a bit more bleak than the TV series, which I've been hugely enjoying lately on Now TV. So it sounds like quite an interesting take on a property, quite a different, more unusual take on a property. But certainly be good to check it out and see how much see how it compares to the TV series version. Following on from that as well, they also confirmed a Booster Gold TV series, which I know is a character that quite a few people have been asking for a while. Now, he did recently debut in Legends of Tomorrow, and become quite a fan favourite character in that series. But it sounds like quite a funny concept. This guy who's a time traveller comes back in time and uses his future technology essentially to pose as a superhero. It sounds like a typical kind of James Gunn character. And maybe somebody that Chris Pratt could play. He has teased James Gunn that he's looking to use some of the same cast members from the Suicide Squad in his upcoming projects. So it does seem like a character that could be tailor-made for Chris Pratt. One of the more obscure properties that they announced was a film based on a team called The Authority. Now, I don't really know anything about The Authority, although I did do a Google search and it said that there's a character called the Doctor, which is not the same Doctor from the TV series, but I thought it was quite funny the fact that they've got a character named the Doctor as well. It's described as a powerful sorcerer, so it's not too far away from the Doctor if you think about things like the Sonic Screwdriver. But I certainly imagine he's probably quite a bit more violent than the Doctor is, given that this is all within the comic book genre and is said to be a more sort of morally ambiguous team of heroes. And I'll certainly be intrigued to check it out and to learn more about the Authority and who exactly they are. It certainly sounds like they could offer a more sort of morally ambiguous take on the DC universe as a whole. One of the most exciting properties I think that was announced is Paradise Lost, which is basically a Wonder Woman prequel. It's basically set on the same place where Wonder Woman grew up. So, it could be, quite a fascinating TV show to watch. It sounds quite similar to past shows you've had, such as Gotham and Smallville on Krypton, where it's telling a sort of story of where, the hero grew up, before they became the, synonymous hero of that superhero universe. So we get to see, how the inhabitants of, Wonder Woman's home, how they coped before Wonder Woman was around. It takes place before Wonder Woman was even born, before Diana Prince was even born. So, we might get to see, some interesting glimpses at Wonder Woman heroes such as Cheetah before they encountered Wonder Woman, and characters like that. A bit like how Gotham, showed us Penguin's rise to power, and we also, got Lex Luthor in Smallville. Certainly sounds like quite an interesting idea for a TV show, and it certainly will be a good one to check out when it debuts, probably on Now TV, I would have thought. And then there's the Batman the Brave and the Bold as well, which is Bruce Wayne and his son Damian Wayne fighting crime. I'm kind of curious to see what they do with that one, because it does mean that it will be like a second Batman film at the same time as Robert Pattinson's The Batman as well. That one's getting a sequel called The Batman 2. So I'm really curious to see how they market it, the fact there's going to be two different Batmen on the go at the same time. It sort of makes you wonder if they'll eventually lead up to something a bit similar to Spider-Man No Way Home, where you've got maybe multiple Batmen meeting. You could have the Christopher Nolan Batman, played by Christian Bale again, and you could have Robert Pattinson's Batman and this new Batman all meeting maybe. It does make you wonder if it might lead to something like that, but it's certainly a strange one, because you could imagine it confusing general audiences who may not be aware that Robert Pattinson's Batman's in a different universe, what they're calling DC Elseworlds. Very strange case. But they've teased that this one's going to feature more of the Bat family as well. So you've got Damian Wayne, and they've just teased that there could be other characters as well. So it may be that they might have characters like Nightwing and Batgirl in this Batman the Brave and the Bold as well. But it's certainly an unusual one, and it does make you wonder how they will approach the fact that there's going to be multiple Batmen on the go at the same time. Another project that James Gunn confirmed was a film called Swamp Thing. Now, I don't really know much about Swamp Thing, but from what I gather, he sounds like a bit of a similar character to Man-Thing from Werewolf by Night. So I imagine they're probably going to go for quite a sort of ambiguous vibe. It's essentially this monster who many people fear, but is actually misunderstood. He's actually, more sort of kinder being than people, give him credit for. So that, does sound like something that could be quite, a good watch within the James Gunn DC slate. Then lastly, they announced a TV series called The Lanterns, which is based on Green Lantern. And there's two Green Lanterns in the show. There's Hal Jordan and there's John Stewart. And they're going on more of a kind of Earth-based adventure investigating this mystery, which is a bit of a strange direction for them to go in, given that the Green Lanterns know more for, these, big space opera adventures. So I'm kind of intrigued to see why James Gunn has gone for like a smaller scale terrestrial adventure rather than something set in space. But I'm sure it will be great because James Gunn's in charge of DC now. He's a great filmmaker, and who are we to question his judgment? Anyway, what are your thoughts on James Gunn's DC slate? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you like what you see, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.